All right, let's talk about something that trips up so many people. Have you ever stopped and wondered, should I say I have a car or I have got a car? Well, you are definitely not alone. This is one of those classic English puzzles, and you know what? Today, we're going to solve it. Let's dive right in. Okay, so here's the big question. On one hand, you've got I have a car. On the other, I have got a car. They sound like they mean the exact same thing. But are they? Is one of them, secretly wrong? Well, here's a little hint for you. They're actually both right. Surprise! But, and this is a big but, you can't just swap them out whenever you feel like it. The real trick, the real magic, is knowing exactly when and why you use each one. So let's break it down, and we're going to start with have got. All right, first up, what exactly is have got? Well, at its core, it's all about the basics of possession. Think of it as your go-to phrase for talking about the stuff you own, or even the characteristics that make you, you. So have got and has got are super versatile. We're talking about possession, right? Like, I've got a new phone. But it's also for relationships. You could say, she's got two brothers. It works for characteristics, too, like, he's got green eyes. And, even for illnesses. Think about it. You'd say, "Ugh, I've got a terrible headache." Okay, so we know what it is. Now for the really practical part. How do we actually build sentences with it? Let's look at the whole shebang, the positive, the negative, and of course, how to ask a question. First things first, let's make a positive sentence. This is the foundation, and honestly, it's super, super simple. Okay, so the structure is really easy. For I, you, we, and they, you use have got. But let's be real, you're almost always going to hear the contraction, vgot, as in, I've got a new car. Then for he, she, or it switches to has got, which gets squished down to scot. For example, she's got blue eyes. See? Pretty straightforward. Okay, making positive sentences is a piece of cake. But what about when you want to say you don't have something? Yep, now let's make it negative. And you know what? This is just as easy. All you do is pop the word not right after have or has. That gives us those handy contractions haven't got and hasn't got. So you can say, we haven't got any money, or he hasn't got a sister. It's a nice, consistent rule, which we love. Okay, positive, check. Negative, check. Finally, how do we turn this whole thing into a question? How do we ask? This is another super simple move. You just take have or has and move it right to the front of the sentence. You literally just flip it with the subject. So, you have got a pen becomes, have you got a pen? And she has got a headache becomes, has she got a headache? It's just a simple switcheroo. All right, feeling good about have got? Awesome. Because now it's time for the big comparison. Let's put have got head to head with plain old have. This right here is where all the confusion really comes from. So why do people get these mixed up? Well, it really comes down to a few key differences. First, have got tends to be a bit more informal, and it's super common in British English. On the flip side, just using have can sound a little more formal, and it's way more common in American English. But here's the real game changer, the big grammatical clue. With have got, the have or has part acts as the helper verb. But with just have, you need to call in backup. You need do or does for negatives and questions. Okay, this chart really makes it all click. Look at the positive sentences. I have a dog and I have got a dog. They mean the same thing, no big deal. But watch what happens when we go negative. With have, you need that helper verb. I don't have a dog. But with have got, the have does the work itself. I haven't got a dog. Same thing for questions. It's do you have a dog versus have you got a dog? So here's the golden rule, the one thing you have to remember. If you use the word got, you never, ever use do or does. They just don't go together. Okay, we're almost there. But now we have to talk about what I call the golden rule. This is maybe the most important part of this whole explainer, because this is the one situation where you absolutely cannot use have got. Get this right, and you'll avoid the number one mistake people make. And here it is, a big warning for you. Never, ever use got when have is an action verb. I'll say it again. If have means doing something, got is a no-go. Just look at these examples, it'll make perfect sense. When we talk about eating, like I have dinner, or bathing, she has a shower, or experiences, we have a holiday. Have is an action word. It's something you do. So it's absolutely correct to say, I have dinner. But it's totally wrong to say, I have got dinner. Makes sense, right? Have got is all about possession and state of being, not about activities. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's wrap this all up with a final cheat sheet. These are the key things you need to lock in your brain. All right, here are your 4 key takeaways. Number 1, use have got for things you possess, your relationships, or when you're sick. Number 2, remember it's a bit more informal and you'll hear it a lot in British English. Number 3, the big grammar rule, if you use have got, there's no do or does ever. And finally, number 4, the golden no got rule. Never use got with action verbs like have breakfast or have a shower. And just like that, you've got it. Seriously, you now have all the tools you need to handle have and have got like a pro. So now that you know the rules, what new sentences have you got floating around in your head? Go on, try them out.